He is known for leading the successful campaign for India's independence from British rule through non-violent resistance. He is recognized for inspiring movements for civil rights and freedom worldwide. He is Mahatma Gandhi. In the early 20th century, a remarkable figure emerged in India, destined to become a symbol of non-violent resistance and a champion of independence. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, known as Mahatma Gandhi, was a lawyer, nationalist, and political ethicist who dedicated his life to liberating India from British rule. Born and raised in Gujarat, Gandhi embarked on a legal career in London, but his true calling lay in fighting for justice and equality. In 1893, he found himself in South Africa, where he witnessed the discrimination faced by Indians. It was there that Gandhi first employed non-violent resistance, a tactic that would define his future endeavors. Returning to India in 1915, Gandhi took up the mantle of leadership in the Indian National Congress. He led nationwide campaigns, addressing issues such as poverty, women's rights, religious harmony, and the abolishment of untouchability. But above all, his vision was to achieve Swaraj, or self-rule, for India. Gandhi's methods were unconventional yet effective. He adopted simple clothing, including the iconic dhoti made of hand-spun yarn, as a symbol of solidarity with India's impoverished masses. He advocated for self-sufficiency and practiced austerity, even undertaking long fasts as a form of both personal reflection and political protest. His most notable acts of civil disobedience included the historic Salt March in 1930, where he and his followers walked 400 kilometers to challenge the British-imposed salt tax. In 1942, he called for the British to quit India altogether, inspiring millions to join the freedom movement. However, the path to independence was not without challenges. Gandhi's vision of a religiously pluralistic India faced opposition from Muslim nationalists who sought a separate homeland. In 1947, India gained independence, but it was divided into two dominions, India and Pakistan. The partition led to widespread violence and displacement, prompting Gandhi to embark on hunger strikes to promote peace and unity. Tragically, on January 30, 1948, at the age of 78, Gandhi fell victim to an assassin's bullet. His unwavering commitment to non-violence and his defense of both Pakistan and Indian Muslims had angered some Hindu nationalists. Today, Mahatma Gandhi is revered as the father of the nation in India. His birthday, October 2nd, is celebrated as Gandhi Jayanti, a national holiday, and his legacy of non-violent resistance continues to inspire people worldwide. Gandhi's teachings remind us that true power lies in peace, unity, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Mahatma Gandhi, or Mohandas as he was known in his early years, was born on October 2, 1869 in the coastal town of Porbandar, India. He came from a Hindu family and his father, Karamchand, served as the Diwan of Porbandar state. Despite having only an elementary education, Karamchand proved to be a capable chief minister. He married 4 times and had several children, including Mohandas, his last child. As a child, Mohandas was described as restless and mischievous, often playing and roaming about. He was deeply influenced by the Indian classics, and the stories of Shravan and King Harishchandra had a profound impact on him. These stories instilled in him a sense of truth and love as supreme values. In his autobiography, Mohandas wrote, "It haunted me and I must have acted Harishchandra to myself times without number." The religious background of Gandhi's family was eclectic. His father was Hindu, while his mother, Putlabai, came from a Pranami Vaishnava Hindu family. Putlabai was an extremely pious lady who would not eat her meals without daily prayers and would take the hardest vows without flinching. Her devotion left a lasting impression on Mohandas. In 1874, Karamchand moved his family to the state of Rajkot, where he became a counselor to the ruler. Mohandas joined the local school and later the high school in Rajkot. He was an average student, more interested in books and school lessons than in games. At the age of 13, he was married to Kasturbai Makanji Kapadia in an arranged marriage, as was the custom at that time. Tragedy struck when Mohandas lost his father at the age of 16, and shortly after, his first child died. These losses left a deep impact on him. Despite the challenges, Mohandas and Kasturbai went on to have 4 more children together. In 1887, he graduated from high school in Ahmedabad and briefly enrolled at Samaldas College in Bhavnagar state before dropping out and returning to his family in Porbandar. In the late 19th century, a young man named Gandhi found himself at a crossroads in his life. Having dropped out of college in Bombay, he sought guidance from a family friend, Mavji Dev Joshaji, who suggested that he consider studying law in London. Despite the concerns of his wife, Kasturba, and his mother, Putlabai, Gandhi was determined to pursue this opportunity. To convince them, he made a solemn vow to abstain from meat, alcohol, and women. With the support of his brother, Laxmidas, Gandhi set off for London, leaving behind his family and everything familiar to him. Arriving in London in 1888, Gandhi faced challenges right from the start. The elders of the Madhbania community warned him about the temptations that England would bring, but he remained steadfast in his commitment to his principles. He began his studies at University College, London, where he immersed himself in English literature. Alongside his academic pursuits, Gandhi also enrolled at the Inns of Court School of Law with the goal of becoming a barrister. Although he struggled with shyness and self-withdrawal, he joined a public speaking practice group and overcame his fears, gaining the confidence to practice law. During his time in London, Gandhi's vow to his mother shaped his experiences. He attempted to adopt English customs, even taking dancing lessons. However, he found it difficult to find suitable vegetarian food and often went hungry until he discovered one of London's few vegetarian restaurants. Inspired by the writings of Henry Salt, Gandhi became an active member of the London Vegetarian Society, working alongside its president, Arnold Hills. Through his involvement, he established a chapter in Bayswater and had the opportunity to engage with members of the Theosophical Society, who deepened his understanding of Buddhist and Hindu literature. Gandhi's time in London also brought him face to face with a conflict within the London Vegetarian Society. Hills, the president, objected to the membership of Thomas Allinson, who advocated for birth control methods. While Gandhi shared Hills' concerns about birth control, he defended Allinson's right to hold differing views. In a display of his growing courage, Gandhi stood up to Hills, even though Hills was older and more eloquent. Ultimately, the vote went against Gandhi and Allinson was excluded, but there were no hard feelings between Gandhi and Hills. In April 1893, Gandhi, aged 23, set sail for South Africa to be the lawyer for Abdullah's cousin. Little did he know that this journey would shape his entire philosophy and make him one of the greatest civil rights activists in history. Immediately upon arriving in South Africa, Gandhi faced discrimination because of his skin color and heritage, just like all people of color. He was treated as inferior and subjected to various forms of humiliation. He was not allowed to sit with European passengers in the stagecoach and was even beaten when he refused to sit on the floor near the driver. Gandhi was kicked into a gutter for simply walking near a house and thrown off a train for refusing to leave the first-class compartment. These experiences deeply bothered him, and he struggled to understand how some people could find honor or pleasure in such inhumane practices. At first, Gandhi thought of himself as a Briton first and an Indian second when he arrived in South Africa. But the prejudice and discrimination he experienced from the British people made him question his loyalty. He began to see the injustices faced by his fellow Indians and Africans and realized the need to fight for their rights. Gandhi founded the Natal Indian Congress in 1894, uniting the Indian community into a political force. He used his still-evolving methodology of satyagraha, or non-violent protest, for the first time, urging Indians to defy discriminatory laws and suffer the consequences for doing so. Gandhi's focus in South Africa was initially on Indians, but he later began to address the racial persecution faced by Africans as well. He entered politics and fought against racism, forming alliances with different communities to combat discrimination. However, it is important to note that Gandhi's views on racism were not always consistent, and there are debates about some of his earlier statements and behaviors. Nevertheless, his experiences in South Africa laid the foundation for his lifelong commitment to social justice and nonviolent resistance.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.